Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here, and tonight we got Ross Crow,
Good evening.
and we got Ren with us.
Hey everyone.
Oh, what's up, guys? And there was my YouTube just clicking on right there. So there we go. We're supposed to have one more person joining us, but they said they would probably be a little bit late. So let's just start out with how's everybody's raid going?
Mine's going really pretty well. I'm just at 275 million, and so I pretty much gained all the prizes that I'm after, that I'm going for. So for me, it's going really well.
Yeah, can't complain. I got all the 3 new ships and the 2 weapons, the tokens for Shrike and Eradicator. You know, so now I'm just gonna get some extras maybe and help some people prep for the Alliance, that kind of stuff.
Cool. I know I've gotten the new hull, both the weapons, all the Eradicator tokens, all the Shrike tokens. I actually wasn't going to do it in the first place, but then when I saw how easy it was, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it. But yeah, I think I have like 165 million points, and I think I've spent like maybe 18 coins on it, I think. And I'm pretty much done. I don't plan on doing anymore. So,
and are you guys doing it with Eradicators mainly, or anyone using Shrike?
No, I'm a poor boy. I ain't got no goddamn Shrikes.
I don't have the Shrek either, or the Shrike, or however you say that either. I've been doing the Eradicators, and you know, I noticed that there's a big difference between those people that have the full fleet done and are hitting the top tier targets, and then the ones that were able to, I believe, use the Hydras last event are really, in comms wise, they appear to be struggling compared to the last event. I'm not totally sure on that situation, but for me, it's going much greater. I have the Eradicator fleet only. I don't have the Shrike, and my fleet was not complete last raid, and it really left me behind. I was hitting 60s with this exact fleet I finished now that I'm hitting the 104 and the 106 Shrike target with. So I'm pretty happy, but I'm not sure that everyone's in the same boat. Those Hydra owners, I believe, are possibly not doing so well.
And you know,
I did.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I did last month with Hydras and mostly hitting 60s and sometimes 80s. I haven't tried 80s this month, but I know the 60s with Hydras are still all good. Okay, you can do a whole bunch of them with a Hydra fleet, especially if you did some small upgrades on the ships, you know.
Okay.
So it's good. I mean, but I agree with you, Ross. I mean, the having an incomplete, unfinished fleet, it's suicide. Like last month, my Eradicators were useless. Like on the 60s, they will do worse than the Hydras, right?
Yeah.
And this month, I'm doing 104, 106 because I finished the fleet and, you know, doing really well. It's night and day.
Yep.
Now, just out of everybody on the panel here, is everybody using lower cannon mount 2s or no?
I'm not.
I am.
I am.
I'm going the full auto route. I just like the defensive as high as possible, and that's the way and in all honesty, I'm not a big PvE person, and truly with the game performance in the past for me in the past 6 months, it's smarter and beneficial for me to go with an all auto fleet because the game performance might not be there.
I know, like originally I was not sure about lower cannon mounts 2 just because how much it cut down on your range and the fact that you would be face planting into those really short range ballistic turrets. So what I did was I kind of held off and I didn't do the refit, but I made sure I had enough tokens going into the raid that I could do the refit. if I found that times were better. And I checked with a couple people, and it seemed like they were getting just a little bit better times than I was. And I was like, ah, screw it. I'll spend a couple tokens and do that refit. So I think that refit ended up saving me, I don't know, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes per on the 104s or something. So I'm like, you know what?
What's your repair after 104?
44 to 48 minutes.
I think
that's on auto for driving.
Full auto, never even viewing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the best I've gotten was 30 minutes, I think, but that was using the demo squad.
Yeah, without a demo squad and driving, I get that 40-something minutes too. So yeah, it's worth it then than the lower cannon mount, because I don't have it, and I'm driving, and I'm getting the same you guys are getting on auto then.
Yeah, no crew. So
yeah, I'm comparing. No, I was using the creeping death, I guess.
Okay.
I think my big thing was just I drove so much the last one because, you know, I was doing just using the flagship thing, and I had to drive so much during that last race. I'm like, I do not want to drive this race at all. Because like I really worked I worked hard that last race, you know, just using the one boat. And I was like, I'm not driving again. But yeah, so yeah, have you hit any of the 80s at all, Ren, or no?
No, I didn't touch the 80s.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people who were doing 80s really good with Hydras last time complain about it this time. And it's like,
well, Kixai said so in the briefing that they explicitly said they made the 80s harder for Hydra owners.
Yeah,
so no surprises there.
And I don't understand why they always got to fuck with the people who aren't near towards the top end of the totem pole anyway. You know, that just, to me, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no comments.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're not having a hard enough time already. Here, let's make it a little bit more difficult for you. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into some slides. I'll get some screen sharing going on here. And Ross, you're going to be doing the main slide present this evening.
All right.
So, oops, I think I accidentally turned off my screen sharing after I just started it. You'd think I'd never done this before or something.
All right. What we have here is the 9.07 update. And it's deploying Tuesday, February 12th at 4 p.m. And the update contains support for the February monthly raid, as well as improvements in the VXP weekend activity, VXP weekend communication improvements. So the VXP weekend will now have an activity pill, an activity model similar to other activities and raids. The new VXP locator tab, while targets are spawning. And a new view, I'm sorry, and so these improvements should help VXP weekend easier and participate for everyone while it's running. I'm happy that the entire that the VXP is being taken a look at. I don't like just suiciding fleets to their death for nothing. So, but I just am not sure about with what we've come up with yet. But I'm very happy that it's changing.
I'm just excited that it's going to have an activity pill. And I want to know exactly what this pill is going to do. Is it a red pill or is it a blue pill?
It's a pill.
But yeah, anyway, cool. We'll have to, locators are always good to make it easier to find shit. So
yeah, they are.
I think some people just got confused when they read that, and after that VXP event Kixai did with prizes, like, oh, this is gonna have like a raid screen and what tabs and whatnot, but they don't say anything about prizes, right? It's just a locator and and the pill. So I'm okay with VXP weekend staying as is and not becoming yet another raid.
Yeah.
Right. We do not want awards for the most ranked fleets or things like that. I mean, anything, nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, less events, please. Then thank you.
So then we have the Molten Fury.
Yeah, speaking of events, look at that. Wasn't Molten Fury the name of that TLC that gave us uranium? I'm pretty sure.
No clue.
So this began Wednesday, February 13th, and it's also going to end February 17th at 3 p.m. at rolling end. And it includes siege targets for the Eradicator and Shrike. And the all-new Tier 8 Conqueror is the top prize. It says prepare yourself for Ballistic, a personal leaderboard with a special Valentine's Day Breacher skin for the top 10 players. And let's just say, I'll take a break there. The points are massive, this thing. So this Valentine's Breacher skin is important. Let me tell you, it changes the whole game, apparently. So the point milestones also is added, and you're going to get unlocked new Siren Rogue crews by passing total point thresholds. And so this is a total new feature, and I'm looking forward to that also. So it says receive new feature set bonus payouts from blitzing. So I'm going to just simplify this. In the past, when you blitz let's just break this down to like a 104 and 106 set. If you were to blitz the 104, you're not going to get a completion bonus if you were to blitz the 106 then in the past. Now they have changed that. So if you pay to blitz the 104 and you pay to blitz the 106, you're going to end up with the completion bonuses for those sets, in other words. So, and that's a great thing. I don't know why it ever was any other. But for those that do blitz, it's not me. But I'm glad that it has been adjusted.
Oh, looky there. We are joined by Rue. Howdy, Rue.
Hello.
It's like we got a little mini TFC reunion going on here, huh?
Good deal. Good evening.
How's your raid going, Rue?
Actually, I am about 2 hours away from starting. I was doing some final refits on my fleet. We're still catching up, so.
Ah. So you would be the slacker of the bunch.
Yes.
And we also got Doomsday, who apparently didn't get my first initial invite when it got sent out.
And he slipped in here too. Good deal.
So we go from hardly having anybody last week to now we got a bunch of people this week. It's all good, though. It's all good.
Hi, Rue.
Hey, Ren.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Not bad.
All right, Ross. Next slide. Go.
All right. Visual improvements have been made to the Targets tab in the event model to better communicate recommended hauls, target drops, and whether you are stacking up wins against one target that qualifies for a set bonus if you hit other targets. And your example is shown below there. It's pretty just self-explanatory, very, very easy to follow. I am happy with these pop-up or these locators and the whole things that show you you're guaranteed to win on say the 104 and the 106. It's pretty easy to follow.
Now, is it showing you the number that you have stacked? So, like, if I do a bunch of 104s or 106s, is it showing me how many I have stacked or no?
No, and I thought that was going to be in, but it's not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought that's kind of what I thought they were talking about kind of here, but I guess not.
Yeah, that didn't happen. But even in their model, in their example that's used on the screen here, there's not really a section for that or anything. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just like it would just make sense to me to have it there that way. Like if I do a bunch of 106s in a row, like it would keep track of how many I have stacked up. But probably makes too much sense, so can't have that. Right, Rue?
Nope, I agree with you. It's really annoying when you're like, how many did I do? And then you do one and you're like, oh, I'm finished. And then there's still one left. And
Yeah, fucking annoying shit is what that is. All right. Hey, I'm just gonna start assigning stuff, Ross. That way you don't have to keep talking and talking.
Good.
But welcome to my life. Now you're getting a little taste of what it's like. You're getting you warmed up for here in like a month or two when I won't be around for a little while. So, Travis, do you want to talk about the different targets and the tiers?
Yeah, so for the tier 9, you're going to get a set completion bonus of 5 million. If you do the 106 and 104, you'll get shard drops for the new ballistic battery shard and the radioactive battery shard. You can blitz these. The minimum's 8 and the maximum's 15. And did they not, I think, put in the thing where if you blitz now, you'll get a set completion bonus kind of deal. So tier 8, you're going to get 1 million bonus points and 600,000 event points each. So,
And then, hang on, let me go to the next one. There you go.
all right, and tier 7, it's going to be a little lower. You're going to get, for your set completion, you get 400,000. You're only getting 150,000 event points for each target, the 63 and the 61. And your blitz is lower as well. You got a 2 and a 6 minimum max. And then the tier 6 set, you're down to 60,000 and then 40,000 per target. So that's a grind. And then your other targets is the 102 and the 100. That's where you can get the other shards for the Stalker launcher and the Annihilator cannon. And you get 2.5 million each target. And is there a set completion for this or no?
No, there's no set completion. It's just individual target points.
That's what I was thinking.
So, is anybody else getting tired of shards?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I want to ask like everybody on the panel this: does it not seem like they have doubled down on the escalation? We told them that we hated escalation weapons. We'd been having a whole long conversation with that. Like last year, that was a big topic of conversation. So now, instead of just escalation weapons, now we're getting escalation specials on top of it.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee. I mean, really is guaranteed. We haven't had one. I mean, they all get them, in my opinion. Now, it's just I plan on it.
Well, the thing that annoys me is, okay, they're in here, they're in the top tier targets. For those that are behind or catching up or, just moving up through the ranks, how are they going to get these shards? Once this cycle's over and these go away, where do they come in? Are they now going to be on the map targets, or in which case that's going to take forever?
Yeah, maybe they'll do like they did with the skirmish shards. They put them in the top FM targets, right? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows? If they continue on with the FM changes that they're proposing, that might be the thing, or these will be FM targets for like 3 months, and that's where the charge will be. And if you don't get them within those 3 months, who knows if you ever get them.
Yeah, now one thing I don't complain about is, are these, because before it was actually an escalation, right? I mean, the new stuff was far much better than what you started with, and kind of had to have it and you had to refit it. Do you guys feel like you have to with these? Because I mean, I'm looking at that radioactive battery and that ballistic battery. I don't think they're better than Siege Battery 4. Are they?
I think a lot of it depends on your particular build and whether the 20% of a specific damage type is better for you than the generic building or wall damage type. You know what I mean? Because if you like, for example, if you're using like the crit special, the ballistic damage is probably better for you than the building damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right, but it's very close. I mean, the battery gives you 93%, and the new one gives you the 20 and then 75, which in the end, I think amounts to the same 90-something. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, and I'm not complaining. I'm actually happy that none of these items to me feel like either you have it or you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they've saved those for the FM, after the hull comes out, and after the first raid cycle when you build all your ships, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
here's CL4, here's the new nuclear accelerators 3, here's lower cannon mount 2. Now you're building that you were satisfied with, you have to totally rebuild the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, those were important. You're right. But I mean, these shard things, I don't see them as like must-have.
The only one I consider a true escalation is probably the Stalker launcher. The rest are just kind of mediocre because the Annihilator cannon has a tipping point. Like, you know, you're going to lower your DPS if you go past a certain amount, and you're only going to get a certain amount of stuns anyway. Plus, this raid cycle seems like the turrets are dropping a lot faster, so the stun's not really that crucial. With the ballistic battery, it works really well if you have nuke accelerator 3 and high velocity rounds and the critical special. But I think if you go like, say, Cannon System 5, I don't think it's going to be that much of an improvement to even refit it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Like I was saying earlier, I think it's very the ballistic one is very dependent on your specific build.
Yeah.
Here, Rue, you can talk about this slide. Are you there, Rue?
I'm sorry, I had the mute button on. What can I say? A pretty pink breacher skin.
I just figured this seemed like the slide for you to talk about. So
I hate pink, but anyway, I know.
Apparently, there's a lot of people out there that really like it.
No, it's not something that I personally would go for, but the whole Valentine's Day thing, so I can see why they did it. But I'm not sure I'd want to take one of that in and go smash somebody's face. But it's kind of cool looking though. This is for the global leaderboard reward. So the top 10 personal leaderboard players are the ones that are going to get this.
I think it's great. I love seeing personal leaderboard prizes that don't change the game, but still give you some kind of status that you accomplished something. I love shit like this.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you trounce people with the pretty skin and show everybody that you did really good. And I think they also used to do those in the arena tournaments as well. So you could tell, who did really good in the arena tournaments. And you're right, it isn't something that's going to be a game changer and, only 50 people get them. In fact, how many is it now? We've got, 5 worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 50 now.
But isn't it 10 global?
Yeah, it's 10 global, I do believe.
Yeah.
Global
leaderboard.
Yeah, so it'll only be 10 people, period.
That'll be interesting to see the fight for that.
But again, I mean, like you guys said, let them give skins and even crews all day, which are consumables. But it pisses me off when people get 2 extra heavy transformers, 1 extra top hull, top-notch blueprint that nobody else has. I mean, again, nothing against the players that are playing and getting them, but I think it's a horrible strategy by the company running the game.
Yeah, well,
give the skins all day, give the crews all day, no problem. Give a badge, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like I said on the open mic show. It's like you can't with one hand say we want to promote healthy and balanced PvP, and then with the other hand be saying, "Oh, let's just spend a bunch of money, then we'll give you this shit that will unbalance PvP." I mean, it's ridiculous. So yeah, great to see it this way.
And you see a lot of thriving games around, with millions of users, where all the prizes the players get from special events and loot bags and everything are skins for their weapons, skins for their knives, whatever. But they don't get anything that makes their character more powerful.
Yep, absolutely. Red,
talking about crews.
You want to talk about the personal milestones?
Well, that is a cool one. I mean, those 2 Siren crews, very nice. Again, consumables. The range, it's 100. and they will make your enemies reload a lot slower, right? So it gives you, of course, an advantage, especially if you're doing open water or even hitting a base. You know,
Yep.
your ships will have a clear advantage once you get them in range.
And I mean, and I really like this. This was something I've been promoting on the show for a while about, instead of personal leaderboards, just have goalposts. You know, that way everybody who puts the amount of time in can get it, as opposed to, you know, just only like 100 people who spent the most money can get it. You know, this is something that most people should be able to have access to, at least probably the first 3, I would think, for sure.
Yep.
You know, and then your mid to higher level players can access the next 2, and then, you know, the top one, of course, will just be for your silly people who just like to do tons and tons and tons of raid points.
No, even the top 2 is going to be very hard for people to get the top 2. I mean, just looking at the leaderboard now, and there are less than 800 players on the leaderboard, with anywhere like more than 180 million. So that's just past halfway to the second last crew there, right?
All right.
Yep.
So I'd say very, very few people, maybe 1,000 players will get the last 2.
I'm actually interested in seeing how the leaderboard is skewed this time around, because, you know, there are folks that have, and I'm not dissing the players, but there are folks that have got all of the top 3 prizes on both sides.
What do you mean?
Well, the breacher, not the breacher hole. What was the hole that was given out?
The basilisk.
The basilisk, yeah. So there are folks that don't need to go out and get that.
Because they already have them?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but those people only got 1 though, and it's a limited blueprint, so they'd still have to claim like the 3, right?
No, they can only get 2. I think the global limit for that is 3. I don't think those guys who got 1 before everyone else would be allowed to have 4, unless I'm wrong.
It's regular players can have 3. SDS7 will have 4.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I mean, just like the other holes.
Yeah, I mean, just like it was for the breacher or whatever, where us normal peons could only have 3, but, you know, if you were in God Mode Alliance, then you could have the 4th one.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't think there's even a reason to get you 300 million points other than the leaderboard and these little crews here, because I did the math. To get 3 times the basilisk, the 2 new weapons, and then all the Shrike and Eradicator tokens, you needed 155 million.
Yep.
If you want to top that up, let's say with 5 Hyper 30, it's another 125. Then now you're like close to 300. But there's no reason to be over 300. That's my point. Because players catching up on old stuff are not the kind of players who are scoring 300 million points anyway.
Big Texas Roller in chat is asking if we have to make room for the road crews. No, these will actually, when you get awarded them, it will be able to take you over your 50 limit. So if you already have 50 crews, you don't have to delete, you know, however many to get them. It'll just take you over your limit.
Yeah. But if you're under 50, then they're going to take space, and you won't be able to go over 50 afterwards.
Correct.
Yeah, and if you do overfill, you won't be able to roll or be awarded other crews until you get back under 50 again.
Correct. Now, I did see here at the bottom where it said, note this rework progress will not be visually tracked in game. Why not? It shouldn't be that hard to put in a little thing to tell me where I am to my next benchmark, because I know they've had that before. So I wouldn't think it would have been that hard to put it in. You know, I mean, it's not a big deal, but...
Did they track that with the mercenary crews? Remember when we got those mercenary crews for rescuing the folks in the raid? God, probably 2 years ago now.
But those we were getting real time. As you reach a certain milestone, you'd get one. Then you get another one during raid. This one, they're just going to run a script and give it to people afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have thought, though, like, remember, though, how when we had those raids before where you had to, like, you would get, like, it wasn't sector threat, but it was something similar to that based on how your sector was doing. It would fill up a progress bar at the top, and at a certain point, different targets would be opened up or whatever. I just would think it would be easier for them to put a bar like that, similar to this, to keep track of each individual person's points on how far they were to get to the next crew. You know.
Well, in the raid right now, we still have the uranium bar. You know, so
Yep.
it could be done.
Yeah. I mean, it's something small, just something I thought would have been nice to see, though. Who wants to do the basilisk? I think when we talked about it Saturday, you did the blueprint for the basilisk, Ross. So I'm not going to throw you under the bus on this one.
Right.
Dunes, I'm going to throw you under the bus on the basilisk.
Joy. All right. So the sniper mortar hull, that's what it is. So this one's actually pretty kind of cool. It's OP in some ways, and then it's got some glass jaw features. You know, if you read in the description, you know, it says it can be paper thin, and that's the case with some of the deflections. So you're really going to have to use it wisely against certain bases, because if you look at the mortar range, you're going to get, you know, 50%, which is huge. The penetrative range is 35%, and your damages for both types is 85%. Now, where it gets tricky is your deflections. The highest two is your penetrative, and let's see, what is it? The explosive. So you got 55,000 and 66,000, and everything else is 33,000. So that means you're really going to have two deflection types that are really going to hurt. So you got to plan wisely for this hull. And it's a little bit slower. I know people's used to using their breachers now, but would you say this was like 8 miles an hour slower than the breacher coming out of the box? So that's something, you know, the range will help you account for that with your play style, but you still got to, you know, to make sure that you either add some Hyper 30 to pick it up just a little bit, and you know, it's going to be taking some splash from some Thunderlord mortar, so that's probably a good bet to add the splash reduction. But all in all, you know, it's you got your 8 weapon slots, but you only got 3 armor slots. So that's where the, you know, it's like I said, it's going to be like a fine-tooth weapon sort of kind of hull. And then your special slots is 6, and you got your normal cargo of 40 million for the tier 8. And then you got your built-in hardpoint mortar, and like we were talking last week, it's, you know, 30-second reload, 80,000 damage, but it's just one salvo, small splash, but the range, you know, you can pump it up there, so it's interesting.
So that's like 10 shots in a base attack.
Pardon?
So it's like 10 shots in a base attack.
Yes.
Well, now hang on though, because I did get some clarification on some things. Rank will affect that reload on the hardpoint mortar. Any reload specials that you put on it will affect that reload on the hardpoint mortar. So I think I was doing some math the other day, and you can actually get that reload time down to 3.75 seconds, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so that helps out, because the mortar, the Dark Cloud mortar, is like 25 seconds, so you'll have an alternating fire, so it may be kind of cool. Just it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, the important thing to note about this, the mortar too, is it can't be countered.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty big deal. But yeah, and this thing is pretty glass jaw though. I mean, when you look at the deflections, like how a lot of them are like half of what the Dread came with.
Yeah.
And then you only have 3 armor slots on top of that to boot.
And the lower armor points of 4,500,000. So, you know, even if you put 2 of the new armors on, it's only going to get you to 6 million base, and then you're only going to have 1 deflection type armor that gives you 2 types of deflection. So it's tricky.
Now, I think your max range on the hardpoint mortar can end up being 167, I think it was, which is like right around roughly 8.5 land tiles.
Okay. That's what I was just going to ask. I'm glad you said that in land tiles. I've been being asked that a lot, so I wanted to share 8.5 land tiles. Is the spacing people are going to need for their OP.
So I know some of us had already given our thoughts on it Saturday. Ren, what are you thinking on this guy?
I don't like when they mess up with ranges. You know, it's just now you have everyone putting everything dead center in the base with 8 tiles on each side or something like that. You can't have channels like anything in there anymore. So I dislike it deeply, right? But overall, it's a good concept. The fact that you have like a glass cannon, but the fact that it has such a long range, just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a huge exponential, huge jump in range. Like, I caught everybody kind of off guard. We're used to seeing like, okay, well, this hull goes like, 2 longer than what the last one does, or it goes 3 longer than what the last one does. This one's like, oh, we go like, 52 longer than the last one does, or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit ridiculous.
Definitely, and I totally agree. I like the weak point. I like the extended range, but I don't need to go across the map, extended wise. I need a little creeps so that the next hull can have another little creep in range possibly, and we could do some planning ahead. Because the next time they try to go a range increase, we're going to be off the grid. So I mean. This jump was just not thought out, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rue.
No, I was just going to agree. There's going to be a lot of people that are just going to take this in and park outside somebody and smack their island from outside.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because there's going to be a ton of players that weren't ready for this, and they haven't redesigned their bases yet and everything. I'm fully expecting next raid we're just going to get boats where we launch them outside our base, and they can just launch nuclear warheads. So I won't even have to go into your base. I just click on you and hit launch.
Big silo that opens up.
We're getting silly. We're getting silly.
Yeah, and I mean, if this hull had remote targeting, so you still got to drive a breacher or something in and then it fires, that is better. But the fact that on its own it has such a long range, especially the mortar range, which makes you have to have 8 tiles free of anything, that to me is just stupid. I'd be much better with the remote, a little bit of remote targeting, like less than the sloth, but something like that. Right.
I guess it's almost like it has remote targeting range without the remote targeting ability, kind of in a way.
Or requiring that other hull, so it's.
So I mean, but like you could still, I guess, in theory, kind of do it. Like you have your tank way up front, sucking up all the damage, and then you're using these as like kind of remote targetings, but not really remote targetings, but coming in behind it that way a big distance. I don't know.
I watched a couple of videos, and even the regular mortar range on it, there was certain spots on bases where, I thought he was going to have to pull straight up, but no, they're just the regular mortars, normal weapons were tagging the island. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the one cool thing about the hard point, though, is it doesn't have like a 360 firing arc. It has like a really narrow firing arc in the front. I mean, what would you guys think that is? Like maybe 25 degrees or 20 degrees or something like that?
Yeah, it's in the 20 to 30. It's small. I like it. And everything else about the hull I like. I mean, it's again, a new aspect of something. That fixed cannon is neat with the extended range. I like the idea, and I like the weakness. I just don't think that it needs to go clear across your base.
Cool. All right, what do we got up here next? Oh, we got the Dark Cloud Mortar. Go, Ross.
All right. So the Dark Cloud Mortar is Forsaken. It's Conqueror and Defender. Also, it's Tier 8 mortar. Explosive damage. Now this one's at 1,850 tons. The projectile speed on this thing is 52. That's right, 52. It's as slow as can be. Splash is 8. Spread is 100. It does have anti-mortar evasion of 60%. It does have a range of 85 to 90. So it's got a donut range, and then Damage on this thing is 151,184. It's pretty high damage with a salvo of 3, a reload time of 25. So high reload time. Explosive defense bypass 100%, and it's, imagine that, it's got a flak evasion. You know, so this is actually what, flak evasion on a mortar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just a cut copy paste error. You know,
right.
I meant to put anti-mortar evade.
Right. It's a nice, it's a strong mortar, but it's just really, really slow in my opinion, in the air for projectile speed, 52.
Well, I think the one of the things that I noticed right away, and we'll see that again on the missile, is the you're going to have like a really not much difference between your minimum range and your maximum range.
Yeah, but remember the elite countermeasure turret. That one, it doesn't matter if the mortar has flak evade because that one's splash based, so it's still going to work with the normal efficiency. It's only good against like hailstorms and stuff like that are accuracy based.
Yep, that's very true. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm almost thinking this such a small difference in the ranges, you know, between minimum and maximum. Do you think that's to keep people from being able to use this in defense? That's kind of what I think.
Are you sure it's not a typo?
No, we're 100% sure it's not a typo.
Yeah, 5. That's like, that's definitely meant for base hitting for sure.
Yeah,
that's to creep up, you know. So.
Yeah, you can't use in defense, and you can't use, even if the ship were capable of surviving in the channel, you can't just run the channel with it. You got to stop because the effective range is so minimal.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't try to tank with a breacher and just have these guys. Now, what you can do, and I've seen, I think Ewok doing that already, was just having this guy with a super long range spotting for a bunch of slots.
Yes. It's been really effective.
Yep.
Yep.
And so I think that's what, the third or the fourth comeback of the slots in the game.
I was gonna say, great. We have another year of fucking sloths to look forward to. How wonderful is that? Oy.
Well, I think you know, I don't know if it's too early to bring it up, but I think the ECMs, like whoever had them and deleted them, I think that needs to be addressed because like that's such a long build, or that build time needs to be reduced way down because I think, you know, they'll be fairly effective, but now that people's, you know, it went through a meta stage where they weren't effective, so people had to get rid of them, and that's kind of not cool.
Well, you know, it's funny because there was like 7-day build tokens available for all the other ones that were really long, you know, like the epic cap mortars and the other ones. But the one that we never got 7 build day tokens for was the ECMs.
Yeah.
Right.
Why would you need it? It's just 28 days to build it.
Oh yeah, that's no problem, man. That's no problem because I got so much spare time to build stuff on my base, you know. That would probably be if I had deleted all mine and had to rebuild them. That would have been my whole $65 per year allotment just to get those back in my base.
I'm that guy. I deleted them. So I am that player. I don't have them. So
I still have 2. I had more. I have 2 that I didn't delete, and I'm thankful I still have 2.
Because you know, the bombards, they're not going to be even a band-aid. You know.
And I mean, and that the build time on those is something a long time ago they said they were going to address, and they never did. And I can guarantee you they're not going to address it now. That it's like relevant again.
Yeah, but then again, the guys who said they were going to address it were like, what, 2 or 3 teams ago? It's not the same people anymore. So.
Yeah. Heaven forbid, like previous teams leave notes for other teams. Heaven forbid that ever happen. All right, Rue, we're going to come to you for the missile.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Well, this one again is Conqueror Defender. It's a penetrative missile. Is again chubby at 1.85 tons. This one projectile speed is 250, accuracy of 70, 67% of mortar evasion, and check the range on this one.
Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it?
So we have you're going to have a ring around your boat, and everything that ring has to touch whatever it is you're going to fire at. Again, high damage at 98k in damage salvo of 2. Much shorter reload time, though, on this one. And a very hefty wall and building damage.
So
I am trying to wrap my mind right there. Trying to talk for starters. But I'm trying to wrap my mind around this one as well. This is another one with a really short range.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, the ring, if you just install the missile, you're not going to see the ring. But the moment you put specials, adding 30%, and then the built-in range and whatnot, then you're going to have a nice donut in there, I guess, to hit.
oh, yeah,
But huge blind spot.
now you're going to have a huge donut in there because really you're only going to have a ring with a width of 1, you know?
Well, yeah, until like Ren's saying, until you add the special, and then you'll increase it 30% that ring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if you
Still
put
not a
scope and you put something like whatever 30% special you choose to put, guidance missile system, whatever, right? You put those guys in, and then yeah, you should see a donut with about a 50 or so useful area where you can hit stuff.
Oh, see, I've never noticed before that, like, if I put a 30% range extender on it, does that also increase my minimum range, though?
No, it doesn't touch the minimum range.
Okay. So I
It's
never really
basically
took a whole
75
lot of notice to that before because we never had something that was this vast, you know what I mean? But hey, our missile has anti-mortar evasion, so that's good.
Yep. And also has a deflection addition with it.
Yeah, you put a bunch of those in the Basilisk. It's going to survive a couple extra shots, but that's all.
Yeah, because 8 times 750, that's not a whole lot.
No, it's not. It's a rounding error.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting.
Now, you know what can help people trying to defend against this guy? It's a whole bunch of executioners with priority targeting, if that's working. Because the Basilisk has less armor than the Breacher, and if people are using Breachers to tank or distract, you know, you sacrifice some damage, but you could kill a bunch of these with just executioners. I'm thinking, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good tactic.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Oh, what do we got next? So we're at the radioactive batteries and the ballistic batteries. So yeah, these are kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, they give you 20% extra bonus damage to their damage types, but then only give you 75% wall and building damage, and then of course your regular 50% turret reduction. So I don't know.
Now, let me ask you, do they show up in the retrofit lab? I mean, that 75, does it go up at R15, or is that what it is, period?
Yeah, it looks to me like that this is what it is, period, for me. It doesn't say retro, it doesn't have a retro number, so.
Ah.
Yeah, that's what I would think as well.
Yeah, because then I'm like, I understand what you guys said about maybe if the person using the critical hit special makes the difference, but I'm not feeling that I have to remove SB4 for any of these on my ships. I you know.
Right. It's not going to get you make or break, I don't think. Definitely. It's not. I'm not even sure it's better.
Yeah, like probably only in that very specific niche build that we were talking about with this actually battery.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's not a wrong. I mean, if somebody now let's think the other way. If somebody actually goes ahead and replaces siege battery for these, do you think they'd be worse off or just the same?
If they're not using that niche build, I think they would probably be worse off putting this in place of siege battery.
Yeah,
That's my personal opinion.
I kind of wish it would stack with siege battery and on it instead of high velocity rounds. Maybe, well, maybe not, because then that'd be like a 60% reduction. Never mind, scratch that idea.
Oh, the building and wall damage would be off the charts too.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're limited.
Well, and don't you have to hit the Shrike target to get the ballistic one, and then you have to hit the Eradicator target to get the Shrike one? Isn't that the way that works out? Isn't that the way the charge payout works? That the ballistic one is in the Shrike target?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you hit the Eradicator target gives you the radioactive battery.
Yeah, so that seems a little bit ass backwards to me, but. And it's sounding like at some point you switched from your computer to your phone. Am I correct in that, Ren?
I'm in my car. Yeah, that's why I'm going on mute when I'm not talking.
Right on. That's what I thought happened there. Cool. And then we got the slide for the crews. We had kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Their effect on them with the minus 30% reload for the rare one and the minus 50% reload for the legendary, and how it has a range of 100. So
I like the graphics on these. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, and I like the fact that it's, I know that the old crews haven't been revisited, but I like new crews, and so I'm for this all the way around.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to eventually see these in the where you roll for.
Yeah, they said they don't have plans for that for the time being, but wasn't a hard no. So
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, they're not anytime soon, as we know, can be a matter of like just a couple weeks. Just like when they told us we wouldn't.
It's going to be about, are they making money with these crews? I mean, if people get these 5 crews, 3 crews, 2 crews, and then they use them and they like them, and then now they pay to extend them, then they might say, you know what, let's put some more of them out there.
Are there restrictions on use on this? I'm sorry, I was trying to remember the slide.
No, they work on PvE and PvP both.
Yeah, so.
I wonder what the duration is.
It's 1 hour, I think, isn't it? 1 hour?
Yeah, 1 hour.
Oh.
Yeah, so we don't know what the cost is to turn it to get it back. To use it.
I think the highest one is Bullseye Brigade at 100, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
And the Grease Monkey is 60?
60, yeah.
Yeah, and all the others are 30 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the rebuy is on this. I see it being very interesting in PvP.
Yes. Oh, my gosh, yeah. And he's really wanted. They're really going to be wanted.
Here you go, Ross. Here's another one for you to answer.
All right. Some answers to commonly asked questions so far about the Siren Road crew. The progress bar gift were overfilled past 50. We mentioned that, so you don't have to worry about that. The crew is not being added to the road crew roles at this time and maybe in the future. We just mentioned that also. The effect is not battlefield wide. We mentioned that. It is limited to a range around your hull. We mentioned that it down there it's a range of 100 aura, with a 60-minute duration with a max refresh 1 each. The crew does apply to both PvP and PvE. So I think we've covered it all.
Sorry for interrupting, but just wanted to say, I mean, even the older T7 Conquerors and the Breacher, their standard range is 110, and if you put the scopes, it goes a little bit higher than that, 118 or whatever. So with this crew only working at a range of 100, sometimes you're actually going to be better off not having your enemy in the aura of the crew, because if you can outrange them, then they're not going to be firing at all, right?
Right. No, right. Yeah, definitely correct.
Just thought about that now.
Yeah.
And certainly not going to work against the Breacher or the Basilisk.
Well, unless it's the Breacher and they try to rush you. I mean,
yeah, I don't know how many people in Breachers like stop and try to kill everything on their way through anymore. It seems like most people just try to like blitz you nowadays.
Right. So that could help in that aspect.
But of course, then you're looking at only using a crew for an hour in a defensive slot, and you'd have to be like to have that time perfectly. You know what I mean? And then, so we got the Valentine's leaderboard. We already talked about that. Ross, you can go over the Cannonballer campaign.
Okay, and that starts today at 8 p.m. PST, and it ends on 17th. This is not quite ready for the raid. Break out your icebreakers and tackle this campaign to claim your Cannoneer, along with some fantastic equipment and build tokens. Prize pack 1, you're going to pick up the Cannoneer blueprint. 1-day Cannoneer build token times 9. And then some VXP tokens times 2. Prize pack 2, you're going to pick up the Millennium Gun blueprint, which I do like that blueprint, actually. 1-day Cannoneer build tokens times 10. A large Cannoneer VXP token times 2. In prize pack 3, you're going to pick up the High Velocity Rounds blueprint. 1-day Cannoneer build token times 10 again. Large Cannoneer VXP tokens times 2. And then in your mastery, you can complete it 3 times, and you get 10-day Cannoneer tokens times 2. And in my opinion, the Cannoneer is not a good fleet to have at this, and I don't recommend. I mean,
they can do the 60s. If you don't have anything else, the Cannoneer can do the 60s.
Oh,
and here's the thing, right? There was a guy in my sector today asking what he could use to hit the 40s. And we asked him if he had, Buccaneers or this. He had nothing. He had no siege fleet at all, right? So for a guy like that, either he spends $10 on that offer that gives 4 Cannoneers and the Hardlock Cannoneer flagship, or he does this with icebreakers. It's icebreakers, right? To do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, or he does this one and he gets like 90 days of tokens. And if he uses that expert build, he won't even need that all. And he gets them scold already. Yeah.
Actually, and like an off chance that somebody might not have any kind of siege fleet, but they have dragons, you can even use dragons to do this TLC, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, that would be a kind of weird position to be in, but I suppose there's people out there that could be in that position. So, yeah, I mean, they're good for doing, like low targets and be able to, just sit there and grind and maybe get somewhere.
Are the Cannoneers able to do any of the lower base parts targets?
That I couldn't say because I had deleted my Cannoneers before those base part targets even came out.
Yeah.
But I want to say I don't think so. I think Ironclads might be able to, but I'm pretty sure the Cannoneers can't.
Yeah, I know the Cannoneer failed on the last siege raid, and the Ironclads did much better.
Now, that's where Kick-Size inconsistency sometimes baffles me. It's just like 3 raids ago, right? They had a similar initiative where they were given the Tideseeker. Right, but then in the assault cycle, they gave this easy TLC too. But then they were given the Skyfire, which is a lot newer than the Tideseeker or Cannoneer. So sometimes they give you 3 levels behind. Sometimes they give you 1 level behind. It's very inconsistent. I guess it depends on how they tune the targets.
Well,
I just can't get their logic.
It probably all depends on what team is doing it at any given time, too.
True.
So, bug fixes. They fixed where when people would PM you with certain Russian characters in chat, it would cause chat to disconnect for about 20 seconds. I don't know if anybody else was the victim of this, but I was the victim of this. Somebody was just showing me before they fixed it how it worked, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I had this occur to the whole sector, actually, nonstop. So
There's a certain player in my alliance, Alpha Wolf, aka Ford. He was having a blast with that, trolling as many people as he could.
I was just going to say I could use this very nefariously.
Yeah, so yeah, I know my somebody I know hit me with it. They just showed me what it did. They're like, "Hey, type something in global once or in world chat once." I'm like, "Okay," and I did. Next thing I know, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah. So yeah, Ford, if you're watching this, you know you're guilty.
They also fixed the thing where the reticle would sometimes appear behind a fleet while in combat. The fleet would move past the pathing point, and then the reticle would stay behind the fleet. I know I've seen that many times.
yes.
Now, can I ask a simple question? I mean,
Sure.
In your best educated guess, how many players know what the reticule is in game?
Oh, probably not that many.
1-2%.
If that.
Okay, just asking.
I mean, like I know Hefe was having a big problem with that because he thought the reticule was something entirely different than what they were saying it is. So yeah, but yeah, they tend to use a lot of terms sometimes that are overcomplicate things. You know.
Yeah, I noticed that they do that very often.
Yes, they do.
There was a couple of targets that this was in effect on, not just in bases. I can't remember what it was. You'd click somewhere, and I'm not talking about where you click too close to land and it would move it over to where you could drive. It was crazy. Like you'd click here and then you'd go over, somewhere different.
The FM was really bad for that.
Yeah, you click east, and all of a sudden the target moves west, right?
Yes.
Or a drive, you'd highlight a turret. I know I was hitting 114s and I'd highlight a turret, and instead of going to where the minimum range was, it would actually drive right up to it. I'm like, why are you not stopping? And then the placement point would still be right behind me, and I'm like, well, you just passed your waypoint, so.
Yeah, I've even seen where I'll select a specific turret, and it's like it won't respond and fire on that turret until it clears something closer. And this is not something that's behind hills.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to select it twice sometimes.
Yep.
I think there should be one more slide. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I thought that. Yeah. So yeah, and here's my little shady dealer over on the right hand side. When they made their announcement, we're investigating, looking at several issues that appeared during the downtime, lag spikes on the world map, spikes in frame rate during combat, and R&D map speed bonuses not applying. And basically, they said, tough shit. If something happens that costs you some kind of gold, we're not going to reimburse you.
I have to say,
Better Call Saul.
This event and the last event for me, those actually ran the best that's in the past several months. Now I'm probably jinxing myself by saying that, but hopefully, it continues to work good on my end.
But I mean, when something like spikes in frame rates during combat is gonna cause, dude, that's gonna cause you issue. That's gonna cause you to take more damage. And you're saying, basically what they're saying is, yeah, we know our error is going to fuck you and cost you out of repair time and or gold, and we don't care. We're not going to do a fucking thing about it. Is basically how this reads to me.
Yeah. And if it puts me out 12 hours, then I might sit out another 12 or another 24, another 36. Keep pushing it, and I may sit out a week or a month. I sit out 2 years. So, if the game breaks and it costs me several hours, several times, it's not going to be cool.
Yeah, people just get frustrated and log off.
Yeah. Because if I buy gold, I expect to be able to use it in play or to speed if I want to speed up something. But most of the time, I use it to play, and crashing is not playing. So I'm not going to spend that gold, for a crash. I'll never spend a gold on a crash. I'll just go somewhere else and do something else.
I mean, I'll be honest though. When I saw this about talking about lag spikes during combat, and then them saying they're not going to compensate people for them causing this issue, I'm like, dude, this would be a great screenshot to send to the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
It was immediately when I saw this, that was the first thing popped into my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole don't write to support about these issues. Well, okay, I understand that no, they don't want to have to answer 9 million tickets, but the reason that people write tickets in is because they've lost their fleet and they're expecting to get compensation for that fleet repair that they lost because of something going on in the game. And so their expectation is that, if I log in and I'm doing fine and then the game just drags down or what have you and I lose my fleet, yeah, guess what? You're getting a ticket.
No, right. In my opinion, I'm not going to tell people not to turn them in for that. Just be polite. Continue to, if you have game errors, what you consider to be game errors, be polite and write a ticket. And that's how I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying being snarky, but if if you've played the game, you're using the same computer, the same connection, and everything's smooth, and then all of a sudden, and we've all done it, we've run into, what I call a target from hell, where you log it, you can't connect to that target, you refresh like 3 times, and you still can't get into the target, it's glowing red, that kind of stuff, and then of course, obviously, a minute and a half into it, your fleet's dead because it didn't know what it was doing, and that's a valid concern, and that's a valid, to me at least, a valid reason for compensation, especially when you get a fleet that's $2 to repair, and I'm running a grease monkey crew.
Yes.
So I've either got to coin it, in which case this isn't my fault, and especially if it's I'm not somebody that sends in a ticket every 3 days. I've got to coin that fleet to repair to be able to continue to use my crew, and so I just this kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I can understand saying don't write a million tickets telling us that the game is laggy because we know about it, but tell people that they're not issuing compensation for legitimate things. It just left a dirty taste in my mouth.
Well, it's fucking shady, is what it is. Yeah. I mean, and this is just I'm gonna I almost want to start having a little column every week when we do the show. It's like this week shady dealings from Kixeye, because it seems like almost every week they do something shady like this.
But see, I remember playing raids and stuff a couple of years ago for hours on end, not having a crash, and then some of them would be horrible. Just depends on what the targets were and what the new mechanics and but here recently, I feel like I have to refresh at least every 10 minutes because if I hit the 15-minute mark, something's gonna crash. It's like it's like I always have to just do it every so often now. Just and maybe it's just out of fear of just previous crashes, but sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. But it's a shame that I can't play the game for an extended period of time because it doesn't run that well.
Well, it's not, and it is valid, and it's not fair, and it's been brought to their attention many times and you show the massive memory leak. You log into the game, you've got nothing else going, and everything's cool, and then you do one target, and you're using 4 gig of memory.
Yeah.
And you watch it, and you can just watch your and there are programs out there where you can track it, and you just watch it spike all the way up, the further you get into the target. So.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know for a fact that they've been the memory spike thing has been being reported to them for like 2 years at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am very happy. My raids has been running pretty smooth. I've been autoing mostly. Well, I've been autoing the whole thing, so I haven't seen very much of it. But I've had some really terrible ones lately, and this I'm not getting that, at least. You know, I've had ones where I couldn't even participate in 2 events in a row. And so I was to the point where if I had a couple more in a row, it would have put me out of the game in where I wanted to be.
I know, like, one problem I have had quite a bit, and it hasn't happened this raid yet, knock on some wood, was, you know, you hit the target and then you hit the join thing and you just get stuck in the record player thing.
Yes.
And then you refresh and it says, and you know, it does the take me to the battle, and you go and you try to join again and you get stuck and you get stuck again. I've had to refresh 2 or 3 times. By the time I get in, my battle's half over, my fleet's all fucking split up and spinning around all over the place. You know what I mean? And you're telling me you're not going to compensate me for that? Fuck you.
Well, I'm gonna jump. Thank you all. Appreciate the time, and thanks for the invite, Mike.
Oh, no problem, Rue. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Nice
bye.
having you on here, Rue.
All right, bye.
Have a good one.
Take care, Ru.
That was good. We had our little TFC reunion.
Yeah. the members, the former TFC presenters who did not scrap their bases.
They're right. Cool. So, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Not really.
Chat, you have anything you want us to touch on that we haven't touched on yet? I know I personally would like to take this time to just say, Chris, you're an asshole. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I do want to say that to everybody out there. You know, so I even got out of Valentine's dinner for this, so I'm doing pretty good. My girl is a wonderful one, so pretty happy.
There you go. I'm surprised Travis was available tonight, honestly.
Kristen's at work, so.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I sent you the invite earlier, and I'm like, I don't know if he'll be around. I'll send it just in case. And when you didn't jump on, I'm like, he's probably not around. Then I saw you in chat. I'm like, wait a minute. But, all right. Well, I guess we're done talking what we haven't talked about. I don't see anything that's popped up in chat, so I guess they're good to go on everything. So I guess that these guys will probably see you on Saturday. I don't know that I will be around on Saturday. So RB knows how to set everything up, though, and get the show running, so he can carry on without me. And until Saturday, we'll talk to you then. And, of course, as always, give us a subscribe, a thumbs up. If you haven't sent your friends to the page already, shame on you. Do it now. And we will talk to you when we talk to you. Have a great one, guys. Good luck in the raid.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
All right. Have a great weekend.